Bus driver Shiraz Spence was part of a recent rally in Birmingham, Alabama, which will be repeated outside of Houston's Federal Building around 11 this morning. Rally organizers are pressing the feds to commit a couple of $2 billion in emergency cash to mass transit around the country.
Reverend Jesse Jackson is among organizers of the rally. He's joining us live in studio to talk about that and much more as well. Well, I guess everybody's worried about government spending, and I'm sure that has come up in your discussions about how to promote this particular issue. More government spending for public transit, why is that a good thing at a time when everybody wants cutbacks?
Well, really, mass transit reduces spending. When you look at the gushing crisis, we should be less dependent upon more oil. We should need more steel and more rail and less highway. 50 people on the bus is a green job as opposed to 50 cars.
Is there a mass transit?
100 people on the train as opposed to 100 cars is a green job. And so around the country we're laying off mass transit workers and raising fares and cutting services. You can't own a car if you're on welfare. If you're going welfare to work, how can you get there unless you have mass transportation to work and hospital and job and shopping and back? And so if we're going green, we're going to more mass transit and less private oil using transportation.
You're bringing this crisis to Houston? I mean, this whole thing to Houston. Is there a crisis here we need to know about?
It's all over the nation. In 1990, they passed a bill, all cities, 200,000 plus one, get zero urban transportation capital money for workers. 10% for capital, so you have some places, new buses, new trains, nobody to drive them. They're laying off workers. When you lay off these basic middle-class workers, that adds to the home foreclosure crisis. It adds to cutting the tax base. So in many ways, I flew from Chicago, Detroit to Chicago last week. It's a 45-minute flight. But from O'Hare to downtown is 2 hours and 15 minutes at traffic time. Well, by car, but by train it's 30 minutes. So mass transit is more energy efficient and also makes us less dependent upon foreign energy.
Save Our Ride, your co-sponsors of this, the Amalgamated Transit Union, Transport Workers Union of America. Some might say that this is just a way of saving union jobs.
Well, it may be a way of creating and maintaining more stable jobs. After all, these workers are taxpayers. In these is where cities are kind of on the seat. You cut public transportation, you increase private transportation. If we go more green, Americans can make the steel in Birmingham, Pittsburgh, and Gary. We can lay the rail. We can make the trains, as opposed to less steel, less rail, and then guess what? More cars, more energy congestion, more highway, and more lawn congestion. So clearly, green jobs is the way to go, and it's energy efficient and it's environmentally secure.
Want to get your thought about something else in the news certainly today. Federal government now versus Arizona. They are filing suit over that immigration law. Some say this is all about racial profiling. Others say this is distracting from the whole issue of securing the border. Where do you come down on this?
Well, we all secure the borders, but states do not have federal rights. They have the right to protest, have the right to their senators to appeal for relief, their Congress people to appeal for relief, but New York and Washington cannot determine Canadian immigration policies. Florida cannot determine Cuban, Haitian immigration policies. That is a federal right. I hope that we can resolve the issue. I think the issue of border security is a real issue, but states do not have the right to make federal policy, and the federal government will prevail in that lawsuit.
Well, you know Barack Obama. How's he doing so far?
Well, he's doing amazingly well against great odds. He came in, we were losing like 800,000 jobs a month. We may be up now around a plus 1,000 or so.
There are some those at JSC say he's not doing a great job. He's pulled the rug out from under the human spaceflight program. What do you say?
Well, I would make a different kind of case because he's had so many balls bouncing at the same time. First of all, the South is huge economic hemorrhage. And we went in 8 years from being a surplus economy to a deficit one, to a huge debt. And now I think the challenge is, of course, we bail out the banks without linkage to lending, without linkage to reinvesting. So while Wall Street is rejoicing, 4 million homes are facing foreclosure, we need a comprehensive urban policy to put America back to work. That becomes the unfinished business, putting America back to work.
All right. Thank you very much, Reverend Jesse Jackson.
We
the rally today. Yeah,
morning.
we sure could.
Thank you.
Rally's at 11 o'clock at the Federal Building, by the way.
Time now is 7:28.